Good morning, everybody. It's a Saturday. It is February 8th, 2025. We are back again for another edition of We Got Next. I'm DommyGun reaching. How's everybody today? Got a big card today, 150 games on the slate. I'll tell you, these Saturdays are getting really fun, but you got to really do your work when it comes down to capping these games, man. I got a couple write-ups for you. I got a couple games that I bet. I got maybe, let's see, one, two, three, four bets, a parlay, and actually I have five bets in the parlay. I wrote up three of them. See how much time we got. We want to hit a little bit of the Super Bowl today. We'll see. We have some of our special guests coming in a little while. DJ Big Boss will not be joining us today. He is on the road, heading to, I believe, Arizona for the Super Bowl, meeting up with some friends and family along the way. So shout out to DJ Big Boss. He gets a break today, a well-deserved break. So let's just check, make sure everybody's okay. Well-deserved break for our boy DJ Big Boss. Hope everybody is going to enjoy the show today. Wine Time Sports, of course, baby, right in the chat for us. We were trying to get Wine Time on today, but he had other obligations. But don't you worry, we will be ready for Wine Time when he is ready. We were talking this morning, me and Wine Time, and both of us very excited over MLB right around the corner. So as you guys know, let me get out of that. Well, there you go. Dom's very happy about the Pete Alonso signing. I think it's a perfect deal for the Mets. Only 2 years with a third-year option. Yeah, he got a little bit more than he probably should have gotten, but he got a $10 million signing bonus. But he is a Met. He is a key to our team. I think him and Soto is a big is a lot of protection for Soto. You know, the home run was always and the big ball was always on Alonso's back. Now he don't have that on his back, and I think it's only going to help him. So, but we'll have plenty of time to talk about baseball. We'll start doing some hot stove with Big Ragu and stuff. I figure like March 1st, while spring training is starting and stuff, we'll start hitting some hot stove. And before you know, the end of March, the games will be starting. So anyway, let's get on with some games, and then after that, we'll hit some Super Bowl. Big Ragu will join us whenever he wants, and that's how we'll do the show today. We'll get it. Listen, there's noon games today. There's a lot of games to get to, so I know people want to get going. So let's get to it. First game I'm on today is the SEC game, 1 p.m. Texas and Vanderbilt. If you've been watching me on Saturdays, you hear me talk about Vanderbilt about every Saturday, and with good reason. They've been winning. They've been a good Saturday team. I know it's coincidence when teams win on certain days. I hate when they put that stat up. A team is 5-0 on Thursdays or whatever. I just it's just a ridiculous stat. But anyhow, Vandy has been winning lately on Saturdays, but not last Saturday. Last Saturday, I took them against on the road. They were at Oklahoma. They came out firing in the first half like they do a lot. Vandy's a good first half team normally, and they came out firing in that first half. They were up by 16 with maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes left in the first half. 2/3 of the first half were gone already. They end up coming out of the halftime. Just I don't know what happened. Flat as hell. I guess Oklahoma noticed something because it was just all Oklahoma after that. Oklahoma ends up scoring 97 points, beating them by 30, 97-67. I was shocked at that. So that was a loss. That was one of the games we gave out last Saturday. I went 3-3, a matter of fact, with the picks. Not as good as the week before. Last week was 3-3, but we'll try to do better this week. Vandy again. I backed on Tuesday, but I only backed them in the first half. They were plus 7.5 against the Gators on Saturday, and they won that first half outright. Again, they came out in the first half playing really good, and then they faltered in the second half. Actually, they ended up covering that game only on I think it was the last shot of the game. Garbage time, like last few seconds, a throw up game shot, and they covered the point spread. But they did lose that game. Against a good Florida team. Now they stay home, and they got Texas coming in. Texas number 11 in the conference, Vandy number 9 in the conference. Vandy needs this game to keep their name in the minds of the committees. And March Madness is coming quick. I think we got 3 weeks to tournament, maybe 4 or 5 weeks to March Madness, something like that, something in that area. I believe three weeks to conference tournament starting. Texas 4-6 in the conference, 15-8 overall. Vandy 4-5 in the conference, 16-6 at home. What I do like about Vandy, first thing I like about them today is they're 11-1 at home. Texas is 3-3 away. I did bet Vandy at -2.5, -112 this morning on Bet Rivers. Reason why I like Vandy in this game, and I didn't take him in the first half. The spread was only 1.5. And I didn't want to screw around with that if they win the half by 1 or they don't come out firing like they have been. They have been home, and I just had a feeling that I didn't want to go to the well too many times. But I took them in the full game, and I probably would have took them even at maybe 3 or so, or 3.5, because I think they have they're ahead in a lot of categories in this game. Let me hit some of those points I got for you. I think Vandy you could bet, like I said, bet maybe 3.5, maybe 4. That might be pushing it, but the reason why I'm a little hesitant. Well, let's see here. Yeah, the reason why I was a little hesitant on pulling the trigger on the first half, and why I just stuck with the full game. Their Achilles heel for Vandy is defending that 3-point, and Florida hit 10 threes in their last game at like about a 40% rate, which does not happen. Vandy ranks number 336 versus the 3. The good news is that Texas don't shoot the 3. Their metric on threes is worse than Vanderbilt's. Defending them. Texas is shooting about 30%. That's where it was. I had the numbers mixed up, as you guys are used to me making those little screw ups. Texas in conference is shooting about 30% from the 3, and it only shoots less than 30% of their total shots are from the 3-point. So they don't shoot many of their shots. 3 out of 10 shots are from the 3, and they only hit 30% of those. Was really what I was trying to say. So to me, that gives the edge big time to Vandy on defense. They're ahead in shot quality. They take better shot quality shots. They create turnovers. I like this Vandy team. I think this is a huge game for their resume, and I took the -2.5. That tip-off is at 6:30 p.m. No, that tip-off is 1 p.m. That's the first game. They tip off is at 1 p.m. That SEC, that SEC has, Auburn, Alabama, Missouri, Texas A&M. It's a quality division. SEC might be the deepest one out of all of them, because Vandy's what is it? Vandy's number 9 in the conference, and they could beat a lot of those teams above them. So Vandy team I like. I'm going to be keeping my eye on them. We got Vandy in the pocket. Next game we have is at 6:30 p.m. That's the Duke at Clemson. Duke, one of the only teams to beat Auburn, so you got to give them that. But Duke is not the same Duke team like we had under Coach K back in the day. The first thing I noticed that they don't run the ball like they used to. Duke used to run under Coach K. That tempo was a lot faster. Now they're ranked into like the 220s, 223, 225. Which is not typical Duke, tempo play. The good news, though, is that we're back in the under in this game. And the reason why I'm back in the under, and I did take it at my 134.5 -112. The reason why I took that is because Clemson is ranked number 340. In that area of ranked 340 in the same tempo department. So you got the Duke around 220-ish, and you got Clemson around 340. So it's a half-court game. I talked about it last week. During the week, I had a little pop-up and talked about teams that play that half-court game and how good it is for the unders, because time just clicks away. And what Duke does do good though, they are, and another reason why I like the under. Both teams slow pace. Duke very good at defending the 2-point shot. They're holding teams to over 60% of their shots in defending their shots. So they're I guess you could put it either way. They're at 40% defending the 2-point shot. Their teams are missing over 60% of their 2-point shots, which is the best in the conference. And I didn't look what it is in the nation, but I'm sure it's pretty up there. Like I mentioned, Duke did beat Oregon, did beat Auburn. And the one thing about Clemson, like I talked about how they don't defend the three well and they're slow in conference, they do shoot the three a lot, and they are pretty good at shooting the three. They're 17th in the nation in 3-point shooting. But they're ranked 17th in 3-point shooting, and they're also better than Duke at the turnover department. Clemson's ranked 50th in creating turnovers. Duke is ranked 125th. So all those things to me add up to for the under. The one thing I was talking about that I was a little worried about is Clemson's 17th ranked in 3-point shooting. So if Clemson gets their 3 points off, that could be detriment to my under. But the way Duke defends the twos, to me, it makes forcing Clemson to shoot more threes than usual, and I think that's going to be the reason why this game stays under. Usually, they're not forced shooting those threes, so today, if they're not getting their twos off at all because of the defense of Duke, then it's going to be hard for them to have to count on the threes and keep it hitting them at that 17th ranked type of shooting. So I love the under in this. I'll tell you the truth. Clemson plus 7.5. I don't think it's a bad spot at all as far as the side. I was toying with even taking that. I was going back and forth with taking it. I'm on a couple of smaller games on the early games. Maybe if I hit some of them, I'll throw something on the Clemson plus 7.5 because I think Duke should be favored, but maybe by 5, maybe by 6. I think 7.5 is a little high. If I see an 8, something like that, or an 8.5, this game is when 6:30 tonight. Then I might fire on Clemson. So keep that in mind with Clemson. That's a huge game for them. Duke is ranked 25th in the country. Clemson is right behind them in number 26. They're both fighting in this conference. This ACC. Besides Duke and Clemson, who do you got? Louisville is fading away. SMU is 4th. Who's 5th? Wake Forest is 5th. So they're not. The ACC is not deep at all. So these are really the two best teams in the conference. I think it's a huge game for Clemson. We know Duke is Duke. Should be a fun game to watch. I'm on the under 134.5 minus 112. That was my second game. Next game I'm up. Anytime you want to come in, Doc, if you're around, come on in. We'll do some Super Bowl. As I say that, there he is, popping up. Let me just finish my last game, and we'll bring Big Ragu in. Big Sky bet next, 8 p.m. tonight. This one's off the beaten path. These are one of the games that, especially I think there's 150 game slate today, and this is one of those ones off the beaten path. Big Sky game, 8 p.m. tonight. Montana at Northern Arizona. This game popped up to me because there's a lot of discrepancies, that I found in this game, and those edges brought me to take Northern Arizona. I was able to get them, and that was only this morning at plus 1.5. I did right at minus 105. I do have that in my notes that I would bet them up to minus 2. I thought the wrong team was favored to open up. And as I came on ad this morning, the last tick I seen was Northern Arizona minus 1.5. I would still take them at 1.5. They're 14-10 overall, 5-6 in their conference. But North Colorado's number 1 in the Big Sky, Montana number 2, Portland State number 3. So you know how this conference is, not the greatest, but I like this North Arizona team. Let's see. Let's get a couple of discrepancies. Let's see. Northern Arizona, ranked fifth in the nation in rebounding. When you're thinking about who the top teams in rebounding was, Northern Arizona might not fall right off your tongue. Number five in nation in rebounding, holding opponents to less than 22% of their offensive rebounds. So teams are only getting 20%, 22% of their offensive rebounds. That's, limiting that second chance shots. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. They also defend the three at home much better than on the road, holding teams to 28%. On the road, they let up more like 33, 34% from the three, but at home, they knock it down to 28%. So they defend better at home. Montana is the opposite of that. On the road, they're allowing home teams to get off over 40% of their three-point shots. And it doesn't change on a neutrals court. So when they're on the road, Montana, if something happens with them defending the three, there's only four teams worse in college basketball in that category. To me, that brings me to the Northern Arizona bet. Like I said, I took it at plus 1.5, but I'm not going to, I'm not going to be giving out stale lines and just say, well, I bet it early. I'd like to try to give a range of what I would bet it at. And I could definitely say I would bet this game if it was -1, -1.5 than it is now. So there you go. Keep that in mind. Last game I am on. Let me bring in Big Ragoo first, and I'll talk about my last game, which is a parlay. Let's join our boy from Alcala, Florida, Mr. Big Ragoo. How you doing, buddy?
What's going on, guys?
How are you?
I'm hanging out in Georgia this weekend with our crew down here. Yeah,
that's beautiful.
I normally in Vegas for the Super Bowl, and I'm gonna pass this year, and I'm gonna stay close to home. But
good year to pass.
How you guys doing?
Everything's going good. DJ's on the road too, going to Arizona.
Yeah, DJ's on the road. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, he was in Vegas last night. Went to see his new grandbaby.
Yeah,
and then he is on the way to Arizona to see the Super Bowl with a old college friend. He said so. Nice. So I'm just gonna hit this last game quick that I took, and that was a parlay I got plus 200 money line parlay. UC San Diego at Colorado State. I took Colorado State, and UC San Diego and Colorado State is the parlay. The reason why it's simple. I took UC Irvine first of all. Let's go with UC Irvine. They give up a lot of their points at the three. They're not good at holding teams to turnovers. They're bad in the turnover department. Where San Diego forces turnovers, they're better in shot quality. I just think everything holds towards San Diego, and I took them in this one half of the parlay. Now the funny thing is, the game I went against them was San Diego State plays Colorado State, but I went with Colorado State. Listen, San Diego is not as good as last year. They're off a 4-game win streak, but they've beaten teams like Air Force, and they have not beat good teams. So, I think Colorado's a lot better team for them. Colorado's off a big loss on the road against New Mexico, but Colorado's game is at home. They only have 2 home losses. They've held, they are really good at, again, on rebounding. They're really good at holding teams to not get those second chances. And I thought they were both in the high 130s, -140. So instead of taking them separate on the money line, I put them both together, took it plus 200. That's Colorado State, and that's San Diego for the parlay. The other games I got, Northern Arizona plus 1.5, -105. Clemson under 134.5, -112. Vandy -2.5, -112. I do like Michigan -3. They opened at 205, 2.5. I would bet them at -3, -4. I think it bounces back this week. Finally, they've been playing. They're playing Oregon, and a team that hasn't played well, a team that needs a team that's been losing lately. That started off great. And, I just think Michigan's the better team today. So I will be probably hitting them. But the games I gave you were the ones I hit so far today. Hopefully we cash some tickets. You got any college basketball?
No, you know what? College basketball, I kind of lay low to conference championship week. When the conference championship, I'm so wrapped up in football along the way, and I start breaking down some MLB stuff. So then I kind of do the spring training circuit, like you were talking about earlier,
Right.
and in between, I'm hitting the conference championship week, and then on to this 64. So I kind of lay low. I bet some early college basketball, sprinkle on some. Pre-holiday tournaments, and then I get the conference
Right.
championship tournaments, and then hit March Madness.
Yeah.
I go for the
I'm sorry.
premier. I
Michigan's
wouldn't
playing
say the premier
Indiana. I'm
crop,
sorry.
but that's when my interest peaks, and
I
it's what
got
I've
you.
been doing forever and a day, so I don't change it.
Nope. I hear you. I made a mistake. This Michigan's playing Indiana. I'm sorry.
Indiana, okay,
Yeah, at Michigan's on the road at Indiana's home. DJ got Oregon. That's what I seen the word Oregon.
yeah,
DJ's parlay mine. Oregon plus 8.5.
yep,
Michigan money line minus 150, and he's going to parlay it to heads in the Super Bowl. How about that for a three-teamer?
oh wow,
Oregon plus 8.5.
yeah,
Michigan money line and heads in the Super Bowl. Gotta like that one. Now that's inventive. That's an
yeah.
inventive one. I can tell you, right?
That almost sounds like a Super Bowl prop.
That's funny. So the Super Bowl, Doc, I talked about some trends the other day. A
Yep,
couple of them were pretty interesting ones. The one I thought I found interesting was that underdogs was the teaser one. 6-point teasers.
yeah,
The underdog is favored if you're teasing the Super Bowl. If you tease the underdogs, it was I forgot the numbers, but it's a big discrepancy in teasing the favorites and teasing the underdogs. I thought that was pretty interesting. There was a
yeah.
couple of trends that we'll see if they hold up true. A lot of one of the trends was you cover and win. Not many teams cover and lose. Usually, if you win, you're covering. And with a point spread this low, I'm sure that'll hold on. That'll
Oh
hold
yeah, it's
true.
got almost.
Because it's now we've seen the game flip and flop. Yesterday, for about an hour, it went down to pick 'em, and then it went back to Kansas City -1. I
Oh
noticed
wow,
that. Yeah. So it's
yeah.
flipping around. For some reason, I just think the Eagles are going to get some late money, and the Eagles are going to end up going off as the
Well,
favorite. I
it
just think that.
seemed like they had the
Go
strong
ahead.
money coming early because when I was last I looked, a couple of days back, and I've been looking at the line and the percentages. The ticket counts were pretty high on the Eagles, and the money was like 80% of the money was on the Eagles, along with like 70%, around 70% of the tickets. And the line was still sitting at 1.5. And it did dip down to 1 in between, but it popped, like you said, back up to 1.5. But
Yeah.
surprisingly, if it holds that strong of a ticket count and money and the game finishes off, I would think it would go back down towards the pick 'em. Honestly, that was my bet. That's why I was kind of waiting because, I mean, we'll get into the plays on the sides and what I like and everything. But as far as that goes, but they move these numbers based on players. It's not
Yeah.
always about the money. It really is because the heavier bets are going to kind of sway it. But long time ago, a bookmaker told me that when they move these numbers, it's who's moving the numbers, not just who's going to the window, and then they'll make their adjustments, pretty
Right.
quick on that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of money to be had, in the Super Bowl. This is like the biggest day of the year for the books to make a big score. Like 70% of the take's going to be on prop bets, and
That's what I was going to ask you. Yeah, prop bets, right? That's
I mean, this is
huge.
This is what started the whole prop market was, this one game many years
Yeah.
ago. And, they just kind of built off of that. And then you throw in the live betting, and it's a bookmaker's dream. So
Without a
for them
doubt,
to take action.
same game parlays, the whole thing, man. It is a bookmaker's dream. I'm looking now. I just popped up VSiN just now to see what the odds are. They got Caesars is at minus. Kansas City has Caesars now at -1, -105.
Wow.
DraftKings got them -1.5, -105.
Okay.
Same as FanDuel. But to me, FanDuel and DraftKings are like the devil anyhow. So
I think you'll see
it.
I think you'll see it go off at you might see the Eagles go off at -120.
Yeah.
And then Kansas City be like -1 at a plus 100, even money type
I
thing.
mean,
So
you could get a plus 1.5 right now, minus 115 on the Eagles at
yeah, I
DraftKings.
think that's going to go to minus 120. I really do.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I agree with that. That's what would happen. So far, I put in a couple props. I'm still working on it. I kind of like the Eagles in the first half. I'm not big on the sides in the Super Bowl. To me,
Yeah.
I play more totals anyhow in NFL, but I do kind of like the Eagles in the first half, and then the Chiefs maybe making the adjustment. And I'm not going to bet the full game side because to me, I go back and forth, back and forth. There's
Yeah.
other things to bet. Like you say, Super Bowl. So time take some shots.
Yeah. Well, you take some shots. Traditionally on the game side. Let's just break this game down a little bit as far as how Kansas City. The big story here is they're going for a three-peat, right? Which has never been done
Right.
before. This is what I think their fifth appearance in 6 years. They've been the last 4 out of 5. I know prior, but
yep.
This will be their fourth or fifth out of the last 6 years.
And Philly's second at it's 2 times in 3 years for Philly.
And they played Philly the first time, but Mahomes, what he does is basically, you can't let, if it gets down late in the game and the ball's in his hands with about 3 or 4 minutes to go in the game, he's going to find a way to get the first downs. He's going to keep the clock moving, that type of thing. Then, within a 1-score game, if he's down by a score, a touchdown, field goal, whatever that may be, he's going to put his team in position to win the game. Or if you're going to back Kansas City, and like I said, they did it. They were down 21-6 against Tampa, which they lost that one, But against the 49ers, they were down 10. They came back and beat them handily. And same thing, when they were down, I believe they were down to Philadelphia too at the halftime 2 years ago, and they came back and won that. So maybe Philadelphia, like you said, in the first half is a good look, and Kansas City, if you're going to make like a double result type of bet, maybe you take Philly first half, Kansas City second, and make a little bit of money that way. But the number, this game basically is a pick 'em in my book. But for me, with Kansas City, you don't call Mahomes a game manager because he elevated the whole team, but he doesn't need a lot to win. What he does is he just kind of distributes the ball and makes the key plays during the game. And I don't think they're prolific like they were a couple years back with a lot of weapons. They have more, keel down players. And the same thing for Philadelphia. Philadelphia, they're relying on Barkley, right? So they're going to try to stop Barkley early on. So, and they're going to play back. They got all-pro DBs on Kansas City side, and I don't see any really big plays downfield. I look for maybe a lot of underneath patterns. Maybe like Goddard. Get him involved in a possible yardage situation or pass attempt situation for a prop. But yeah, and then Barkley, he only needs, if Barkley gets 3 steps on you, he's gone. So
that's the thing.
Have to contain Barkley, and then Hurts is always dangerous himself too. Maybe a rushing prop Hurts. So but for me, for my money, I like the Kansas City side just because I made a deal with the devil a few years back. When I went against Brady, when Marshawn Lynch game, I went against Brady in the Atlanta game. And I did go against him with the Giants too, but the Giants came through twice. But after that Atlanta beating I took, and then, Brady's not around no more, but kind of the torch has been passed. I mean, he just finds a way. He's just and not taking nothing away from Philadelphia because they're fantastic. They got the number 1 defense in the league. They're yielding about 19 points on the road. They're a little bit better at home, but on the road. So this is basically a road game. And Kansas City's right there with them. Their defense, Spagnuolo, he's the most experienced defensive coordinator when it comes to playoff experience. He's got a couple of Super Bowls. He's got a bunch of playoff wins. Yep. So they're going to scheme and try to disguise some defenses and give them some looks. And Philadelphia, they're going to come at you. They're pretty aggressive. So I think I like the under. If I can get 49, I'll be dancing on the table. But I might just buy it up a little bit too to get to the 49. So I like the under, and I like the Kansas City side for the game.
That total's been sticking around. It opened, I think, 49.5, went down to like 48.5. I didn't see what it was yet today. How you doing? Good. Thanks for joining us, man. Top of the morning to you, my brother. Mr. Good always pops in, man. He's good dude. I One of the trends I mentioned was like the teams that like hit 30 points haven't done well in the Super Bowl. Kansas
That was the
City only
first
hit
time
30
Kansas City
points
hit 30 all year when they beat Buffalo
last week, and Eagles hit 35 points a couple times during the season.
Yeah.
So they definitely put up some more points. Yeah, that was a little surprising that that was the first game that the Chiefs hit 30 points. I thought that was definitely a little surprising. The Chiefs, I guess, here's my only thing about I'm not betting against the Chiefs ever again until they lose because I've gone that path before.
Yeah, I mean,
We know
in reality, they lost. They lost
when that happened, and I did it again last week or the week before with Buffalo. So that I'm not doing. But the Chiefs got to have their whole game plan. Got to be at first and foremost is to stop Barkley, right? I mean, they might. I think obviously they're going to have to try to stop him. Not really so much as getting his 3, 4, 5 yards, but it's that second. Once he gets, like you said, that third and fourth step, he's gone. He's gone. They really got to limit. That's what they really got to limit. Yeah. I was surprised hearing that there was a lot of people jumped on the under 28.5 longest rush for Barkley is what it opened up at. It's 25.5 now. Went down 3 yards. Wow. People just think that Kansas City is going to stop him from making that long. I wouldn't touch that bet with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, no, because Barkley, he could.
I don't understand that it got bet down like that. But I even heard, Doc, guys like, a couple guys like Steve Fesnick and, Krakenberger and all those guys that are always on TV. Even them, they were talking about that they jumped on that prop immediately. And I was like, wow.
On the under, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty amazing.
It makes sense in a way because I think, like I said,
that has to be their game plan, right?
Yeah, I mean, just because of the fact that I don't know what kind of pass defense they're going to be playing because they're probably not going to be playing a whole lot of plays to get burnt deep, because I think they're just going to kind of try to contain Barkley and keep him like somewhat, try to keep him between the tackles. But if they seal the edges down and like I say, Spagnuolo, he does what he does. And I think it's going to be a chess match early on. If I can get under 24, which I know 20 usually on these type of games, 24, 20, you'll see a lot of 23.5, 24s, that type of thing. But if I get 24.5, I would play that first half under too. I like that.
Yeah.
I know I've seen 23.5 and 24s out there, but I think it'll probably land right close to that, 23, 24, I think the first half.
I see just about what you were talking about. I see a write-up about the Eagles. Someone betting the Eagles team total over 23.5. Yeah. I don't know when they bet it. I don't know if it's still 23.5. But they say that Philadelphia has a 15-1 record since week 6, scoring 24 points or more in 12 of the last 16 games. So since week 6, they've been scoring those points in the first half. That could totally turn different this week. Yeah. In the 4 games, the Eagles fell short. They scored 20, 20, 20, 22, right. And 22. Yeah.
I think the final is 24-20, 23-20. That's my final score. I think they're going to score about 44, 45 points. That's what I got. Either that or I'll score 80. You know what I mean? So there's not going to be no middle ground. It's not going to be something where they're going to be.
It's going to be just in that 45, 48 area. Yeah. It's going to be big time numbers. It's going to be like a 35-30 type game. Yeah, or it's going to be like you say.
It'll be like in the low 40s or high 70s. So it's not going to be. And I don't think it's going to be lopsided either.
Yeah, I tell you, I thought the as far as teasers are concerned, I thought but I just don't know which way to go with it, so I didn't. But I thought the Eagles at plus 1.5 is a great teaser leg because you get them past 3 and 7. If you get them, on a 6-pointer, if you get the Eagles plus 7.5, I think that's a solid side.
With Kansas
City, what do you go with it? Do you take the under? Do you take the under up to 56, or do you take the over 42? That's a tough one. To me, that's where the what second leg are you going to use? So
I think if you like the Eagles, you got to take You got to take the over slightly. I would fade the under a little bit if you're an Eagles fan. I think Kansas City, they're like I say, they haven't been scoring a lot of points all year, so you'd have to fade maybe tease the over and Eagles, and then tease Kansas City and under if you like that way. So
well, the most interesting prop bet that I've seen that I don't think I've ever seen before was that the game is going to be decided by exactly 1 point. Doesn't matter who wins.
yeah.
Will the game be decided by exactly 1 point?
How much they gonna reward you for that?
16-1.
That's it?
Yeah, 16-1. And if will the game be so listen to the other side of the robbery. Will the game be decided by exactly 3 points?
Yeah.
That's plus 375. How could you bet something such a coin flip, guess in the dark?
I'm going to tell a quick
stats
story.
To those yeah, exactly.
Years ago, okay, when the Broncos, who were they playing in that Super? When the first snap of the ball, they threw it over they're playing the Seahawks, and the odds on the first score of the game being a safety was 200-1. The first score of the game, not a safety. A safety was like 60-1.
Right.
But the first score was like 200-1. And then, I mean, it was 200-1. And then, Peyton Manning threw the ball in the back of the end zone, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then I think after that, I think they had like they had 3 safeties like in back-to-back Super Bowl. So then the odds went down to like the next year, they went from a safety in the game from like 60-1 down to 20-1. And then the following year, it went down to like 6-1. So it went all the way from, you know what I mean? So the books they're not giving anything away anymore as far as exotic big plays, big scores. Them days are gone.
Those days are gone. What is there? About 100? I heard one of the guys talking about there's 100 at Westgate. There's like 100 pages of prop bets.
Oh yeah. It's like a telephone book, an old telephone book.
I remember that day.
And those prop bets are mixed in with golf. They're mixed in with all kinds of whatever you can think of.
NBA is it? There's always
NBA,
a right. There's always a prop bet with NBA.
LeBron scores 34. Well, LeBron scores more than the Eagles. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
It's
I remember that. There's always those NBA games. So anyway, listen. A lot of people were a little bit disappointed, I guess, in the game, in the matchup and stuff. It's still a Super Bowl. It's still fun. People complain about it. They'll still be watching it. There'll still be millions and millions, on the game complaining about the matchup and still watching it, right? We talked the other day a little bit about, before we get into our plays, we talked a little bit about the other day about our boy, Mr. Grecian Formula.
Oh, yeah, Pat Riley.
And how he got that trademark for the three-peat and, the controversy that scored. I did read that he 9 other companies or entities, whatever you want to call it, tried to sue him in trademark court for that name, and his trademark held up every time. And like you told me, he has a couple different variations of the word, and
he has like 6 different variations. I read that after. I said, well, why didn't they instead of
remember we were talking about it? Yeah,
or spell Pete PETE or some stupid stuff like
something stupid. Right,
he's got them all covered.
And the funny part is those trademarks are nothing. They're a couple $100. It's not. It's very easy to trademark something. If it's a legitimate trademark. So anyway, that's a little caveat to. The thing I thought was funny that OG Brett Musburger said that if Chiefs win, Pat can buy another basketball team with the money he'll make on T-shirts.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So anyhow, you have any bets locked in?
Yeah, well, I'm waiting to kick off. Basically,
I got one locked in.
I was kind of wanting to see if I get Kansas City at a even money, with the number. Where and then if that goes that way, the money line goes along with it, because now the Chiefs are minus 115, where they were like minus. I think they were minus 130 early on. So that's going to show you and even now the Eagles are minus 105. So and they were plus 120.
Okay, let me open up Let me see what I got opened up here. I got Bet Rivers opened up here.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Chiefs at a money line is minus 122 on the money line. That's not too shabby. Wow. Eagles are plus 100. Chiefs at -1, minus 110 on Bet Rivers. Bet Rivers, by the way, is a book I just started using over the last, I don't know,
Yeah,
4 or
they've been
5
working
months.
out pretty good.
And I like them. They have a lot of good lines. They got it. It's easy to, it's easy to navigate. It's for people that always have problems, depositing and don't have, and if I like who wants to put their credit card on a goddamn site. This site's pretty good. They have the alternate ways of depositing. So I like it so far. We'll see how good it is in baseball season if it rivals Bet Online, because so far to me, Bet Online has been the best for baseball lines. But we'll talk about that another time. The point spread, they got the total. They got the game at 48.5 minus 110.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what they got.
I still kind of like that. I would rather have 49, for 7 touchdowns, but 48.5, you're looking at 6 touchdowns plus a few field goals, maybe.
I think that,
which side you get, but
even though during the year, the field goals were down. And even at the beginning of the playoffs, the field goals were down because everybody goes for the fourth. No one goes for 3rd and 7. I mean, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 4. They're still going for 4th down. This I can never seen it so as we've seen this year. So many teams go for the 4th down. But in the Super Bowl, I think it's a different story. I think we might see a couple field goals in
they're gonna want points, not make the big mistake, turn it over in field position.
If anything, I think the Chiefs have the advantage in the field goals because that guy Butler, what's his friggin'? Yeah, he was hurt. He came back and he's been kicking pretty good. And when he came back, the Eagles kicker is terrible. Guy can't hit an extra point.
That's their 3rd kicker, I believe, this year.
Yeah. So if there's an advantage there, maybe on a little field goal prop bet, I see 1.5. That might be something to look at.
1.5 either way, but I know it seems like it'd be an easy thing, especially like in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, 3.5 is the total on both altogether 3.5.
For both kickers, 3.5.
Yeah, which it always is that number during the year, and a lot of times you think that that's going to hit, and it doesn't.
It doesn't, right? They wind up with 1 field goal each.
Yep, and like I said again,
sometimes one way and none the other.
Yep, and I think that happens too because teams are just. Besides, they go for the 4th down all the time.
Right.
The kickoff rules are different now. Even the kickoff rules are different.
That's why I like the under a little bit because with them going for 4th down, it keeps drives alive.
And they go for those 2-point conversions all the time and don't hit them.
More
right?
Clock.
They always go for that 2-point, and a lot of times that 2-point doesn't hit. So that helps the under too. That you hit 2 of the touchdowns, you get 6 points instead of 8, or 7. That's a big thing.
Oh, is there going to be a referee factor in this game? Like a lot of people squawking about Kansas City getting all the breaks.
Yeah,
more of a coincidence than not, possibly. But
like our boy Wham talked about the script. Is the script written for the Chiefs? The NFL would love to see the 3-peat. It means more to them than it means to fans. Who gives a shit? We're sports bettors. We could give 2 shits about it. I don't really care about 3-peat. I care about who's winning the game.
Sure. Individual X's and O's, but at the end of the day, it's entertainment, and that's what I tell people, the NFL in my book
more and more
lean more towards entertainment, and because they're pushing the global product and, they want to Mexico, they want to play in London, they want viewership, and they want to sell merchandise. So, to me, it's almost, I'm not going to say it's scripted like the WWE, but, it's pretty darn close.
It's getting close, isn't it? It's getting close. They're starting that new league. That's the like football entertainment. It's called the NE.
Yeah,
that's something. The word entertainment's in the title of the new football league.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Entertainment league. Hey, how about this? Here's a little side note. Joe Thuney, we talked about Patrick Mahomes' left side. So Humphreys got injured, and then they got a couple young guys, that kind of stepped in there. And we know the left side's always the big side on the line, for getting sacks and whatnot. But anyways, they moved Thuney over, and Thuney, him. Okay, if Joe Thuney wins, if Kansas City wins the Super Bowl, that'll be his 5th Super Bowl ring. New England and Kansas City.
Wow.
And then the only other guy that's got more rings than that would be, of course, Brady.
Right.
And then Charles Haley, and that's it. He'll be in the 5-ring club if the Kansas City wins the Super Bowl. But anyways, my point was to talk about Joe Thuney. They moved him from the interior to the tackle position, and he hasn't let up a sack on on that side since he's been
Oh,
moved
that's
over.
interesting. That's interesting.
And he's held off Garrett and TJ Watt. They didn't even touch Mahomes when they moved him over there. So
You mentioned Dallas Goedert before. I've been on him. I had I have one bet locked in so far. And that's why I locked in. Last 2 weeks, I've been jumping on Dallas. First of all, I always have this theory about in the playoffs, the tight ends really start shining more times than not. They really, they just seem to always. And I did really well with backing tight ends over this playoff run. Goddard in the first game, I even laddered him. They just kept on going to him. He had, his receiving yards is always in the, mid 40s, 46, 47, whatever, 48. He had 80-something yards one game, 90-something one game. I even backed him the last game, too, that the Eagles played, hit that one. So I knew he was going to get hit again this time. He opened up at 47.5. I grabbed him at 49.5. But I threw him in a parlay with Pacheco. So my parlay is plus 227. And it's total rushing and receiving yards by Pacheco over 27.5, and then Goddard over 49.5 receiving yards. I combined them both. That was my only thing I threw in right away. I'm thinking Pacheco, who hasn't been, he was hurt most of the year.
Right.
They used him a little bit the last couple of games. He might be that, and he's that type of player too that all of a sudden you forget about him, and he bursts off some play. So that's why I took the combination of the rushing and receiving. I mean, really 2 passes to him or, one, pitch outside to him, he could hit that prop. I thought he might have been a sneaky little player. So I that's what I did. Just, I don't bet a lot of my unit is small during the Super Bowl, and so
it's just another game, with all the hype.
Right. And I'll bet Rivers. If you throw in the same game parlay, they give you a box, one of those squares.
Oh yeah.
So and the square is for, if it's a $50 parlay, you could win up to $50 in a free bet, and then they throw you in a pool for like $10,000 or some nonsense. But so that's always fun. We got a couple boxes, that way. But that's all I really took so far. The only other thing I heard. What was that, Doc?
I said I'll give you some official plays for the show today.
Yeah, so that's what I got.
I'm not going to leave our 1,000 viewers hanging, as far as, we're not going to, they get in and they rambled on about the show and they didn't give a play. Come on. No, right. I'm going to be on the Chiefs. And I'm going to make it official. We'll use the current line that we got now. You said, what'd you have on them at the 1.5 minus 105?
Yeah. And the money line was minus 122.
Yeah.
So that's not so.
I'll do the minus 105 at the 1.5, and I'll take the under.
That's a great price. That's a great price, I think. I think that's a great price. And something I'm going to probably be locking in too. I might lock in the Eagles first half and Peaks full.
Well, that was my next play because we talked about that and I didn't get it. I went on the app and I had to go through 1,000 different pages to find this thing. But anyways, the double result for the Eagles in the first half and Kansas City to win the game. This is on DraftKings. It's plus 550. So maybe like a half a unit on that. And then if you like the Eagles, we talked about MVPs. I brought this up. I did like a little clip on this early in the week. I recorded something for Jimmy, and on there I mentioned that usually the way they run this MVP now, it's always like the quarterback per se, and it's hardly ever a running back. You got to go back all the way to like Terrell Davis and Emmitt Smith. You got to go Super Bowl 38, Super Bowl 35, and it's like 20 plus years ago. Before, I mean, could it happen now? Sure, it could. Barkley has a game; he can win the MVP, but it's more geared toward the quarterback. And the first year you could have bet it was like when Denver was Super Bowl 50, and that was the year Von Miller won it at linebacker. And I think it's happened twice since with the defensive player winning the MVP. So I was going to say, if you're a Philadelphia fan and you think Philadelphia's defense is going to shut them down, maybe look at Zach Bond because he's like He's a linebacker for them. He's and this guy does it all: tackles for loss, sacks, fumble recoveries, forced fumbles. Play a couple plays like that will be a big difference in a game like this. So he's 90-1, plus 9,000. So maybe take a flyer on him. And then I was actually weighing, maybe not betting the Chiefs, just taking Mahomes on the MVP award because I think he's like plus 125 or something like that.
Right.
But I said, you know what, you kick yourself in the ass. The Chiefs win, and he don't get the MVP. But if the Chiefs win, he's pretty much going to get it, I think, because like I say, they don't have the big offensive weapons. Maybe Kelsey, if he
maybe
gets
Kelsey,
who
they didn't use last week. Kelsey, they didn't. They gave him the day off last week. I guess they said we're gonna save you for the Super Bowl.
And then don't forget we got the Andy Reid factor. 2 weeks prepared as usually Money in the Bank too. So
yeah, without a doubt.
So that's it. So take a flyer on the 90-1. I still might even bet that just in case Philly wins. And I kind of hedge with that big, payback on 90-1. Just maybe like a quarter unit on that or something.
Man, the discrepancies in first-time scorers and anytime scorers is unbelievable. I don't like betting that first-time scorer. It's just another coin flip. You're just taking a shot in the dark.
Yeah,
might as well take like A.J. Brown. Yeah, first-time scorer. It's plus 950. But you could take him plus 155 for an anytime TD.
Yeah.
That's not a bad bet for A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
Again, he might get his yards, A.J. Brown. I was thinking of two plays that might get their yards. A.J. Brown and a sneaky one with DeAndre Hopkins maybe also. I would try to look at because you know what happens in the Super Bowl sometimes. They're keying on Barkley, they're keying on Kelsey, they're keying on
here comes Gainwell out of the backfield.
That's right.
Touchdown.
That's right. So,
but Mahomes in his last 3 Super Bowls, I think he's had at least 2 touchdown passes in each, and then he had 3, one in between, I think. So, so each Super Bowl he's been in, he's thrown at least 2 touchdowns, and that's probably going to be juiced to a low number.
At this point, it's only going to keep on going up and up and up. And before we get out of
any Mahomes props or Barkley props are going to be not good bets, I think.
Yeah, I mean they've been getting hammered all week, right?
Yeah.
I was looking at the team totals. The Eagles over 23.5 now, minus 130.
What's the under?
And they got under 23.5. Under 23.5 plus 107 on Bet Rivers.
Minus 130?
Yeah. Wow. Minus 130 for the over. But you could go with, Bet Rivers has the sliding scale, so you could do what you want. If you want to go under 24.5, you got to pay minus 129. You want to go under 23.5, it's plus 107. And the Chiefs over 24.5. Over 24.5 plus 102. Under 24.5 minus 122. Interesting. Very interesting.
20-cent numbers.
Yep.
49.5 is minus 128 on DraftKings right now. If you want to take under 49.5 for the game.
Oh, another thing I talked about with those trends the other day with the video I put out is that the overtime bet, it seems to be the sexy bet. Everybody loves to bet that overtime. It's one of the, they said mathematically it's one of the worst bets there is. First of all, overtimes hardly happen. It happened in like 12% of the games or something ridiculous number this year. And I read a whole thing about the math on which makes sense, which we kind of knew, but the yes props mathematically they're so high juiced that you're always better off gauging it against the no. The no prop on the nose on these props a lot more to the real line that it should be.
Yeah,
the yeses are always juiced up. Doc, for the Kansas City to win in overtime, plus 2,000.
Yeah.
Eagles to win in overtime, plus 2,500. For the game to go into overtime, plus 1,200. Know what the no is? Minus 10,000. So that tells you right there.
Yeah.
That tells you that if you bet the yes and only getting plus 1,200, you're getting robbed. That's what it tells you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They work these spreads out between the plus money and the negative numbers. It's like used to be like, you know what put me on to something like that many years ago when Stanford was playing USC, and Stanford was like minus 40,000 or USC was minus 40,000. But when they were getting like whatever 30 some odd points, but the comeback was like plus 6,000. I'm like, come on. In reality, it should be like a 30-cent, 40-cent spread, not friggin' 80
Exactly.
cents. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
How you doing, Dad Father? Thank you for
EV.
coming in. It's the old Dad Father. What if you're on anything, Dad Father, let us know. Good. If you're still in the chat, if you're on anything, let us know. We'll be on for another 5 minutes and we'll get out of here. If I was gonna bet the overtime at plus 1,200, I'd rather like just say split $100, put 50 on the plus 2,000 and 50 on the plus 2,500, I guess, right? Instead of taking the plus 1,200, take the teams, take both teams.
You got to figure where your break even point would be in that, and you probably surprise yourself. You know, like
right.
I should say break even point. If you had like one unit, let's say unit was $100,
right?
Figure out like where you have to break even to.
Well, if you put 100 on the plus 1,200, right? That's 1,200. If you put a 50 of it, if you split it and put 50 on the Eagles to win in overtime, you would it's 2,500, so you would get back 1,250. So only a little bit more than 1,200. If the Chiefs won, you'd lose money because you'd only get back 1,000 if you split the 100. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that kind of thing. Whatever. Anyhow, that's what we got, man. There's some weird novelty bets that I don't even know, like these names that they start and use now is like, all of a sudden the word octopus is like the new term in gambling, which I didn't even know what it was until I looked it up. It's when a 2-point conversion is scored by the same player who scored the touchdown. That's called an octopus. I didn't know that.
You know what's funny? I'm looking at these field goal props on Butker and Elliott.
Yeah, I'm just going to go to that. Go ahead.
It starts at 1, 2 plus, goes all the way up to like 4. But you can't bet an under. You have to bet over.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? See how they get you that way too. So you say, hey, where's the juice on the other side of it? So, but plus, okay, 1 plus for Butker's minus 980, and Elliott's minus 554.
Jesus.
2 plus for Elliott is minus 114, and Butker is minus 177. So
I got halftime, full time.
Yeah. What do they got on yours for the?
Eagles half, Chiefs win full time. Eagles win the half, Chiefs win the game.
Yeah.
Plus 650.
How much?
650.
That's better than DraftKings. DraftKings plus 550.
Yep. That's what I mean about bet rivers. They're not that's great, but they're a little bit better than FanDuel and DraftKings. But who isn't?
Those are square shops, man. Those are if you want to bet underdogs, and I mean that's why I say usually when you go to these square shops, you could get decent numbers on underdogs, but they've kind of tilted it their way, so you don't get the value that you used to get on the dogs a lot of times. But you got to be smart. That's why you really got to pick your spots with these bets. You just can't fire units just to fire away. Quarter unit, half unit. Them fuckers, they start adding up. Then they affect your bankroll long term. But I get it. It's the Super Bowl. You want to have fun. Get pumped up or whatever. Just manage your bankroll smart. That's all you got to do. Don't let them get in your pocket.
I was just reading what thanks Daryl for coming in. What Daryl Turner just posted a weird blood red river. Yes, the human blood color appeared overnight in a town in Argentina. I have no idea what he's talking about. You see that in the comments? I have no idea what he's talking about. The Chiefs winning the half and the full game plus 155. Eagles winning the half and full game plus 165. So there you go. But so far, I locked in that Pacheco got in parlay. I'm gonna we'll see what else we're gonna be on, but it should be a good game. Where are you now? In the clubhouse? Or is that a green screen behind you?
No, this is the barn.
You're in the the barn.
Yeah.
The clubhouse.
Yeah, you call it the clubhouse. Yeah.
Yeah.
They got the market lights here. I couldn't, The lighting worked out okay, I guess.
Yeah, no, look good.
Yeah,
I finally got the green screen to work in my house,
yeah.
so
I see that.
I was happy about that. Anyway, all right, we'll get the hell out of here.
Yeah,
I'll be talking to you tomorrow.
yeah.
Is our boy Avery around?
Avery. I don't know. He might be sleeping in this morning.
Yeah, I got you.
Late morning,
I got
late
you.
night for him.
Yeah, I'm sure.
We've been drinking the Glenlivet, the Scotch.
There you go, man.
That's his drink of choice. So
yes, I do.
I told him
Yes, I know that.
save some for the weekend. You don't have to drink it all one night. I told him.
I get you, man. Well, thanks for joining me.
My
today,
pleasure, guys. Hey, whatever you do, have fun with the fam, have fun with your friends. Like I say, enjoy the festivities, and I'll see you next week sometime, brother.
All right, man. Have a good night, Doc. Thanks, brother. All right, man. Big Ragu always helping out for the family. We'll be back next Saturday with another. We got next college basketball is just heating up, like we talk about. We'll be going right into Major League Baseball. I just can't wait. But we got a lot of good basketball coming up. So after this week, after Sunday, that's what we'll be talking about, basketball in the college ranks anyhow for me. So that's what we'll be at. We'll be during the week a couple of pop-up shows. Yeah, I'm losing my voice. I'm sure some people would be thankful for that around in this house. But anyway, we'll be back next week, 11 o'clock. I'll be back with DJ Big Boss. Look for our picks during the week on Hoop Bang and Sports Talk. We've been doing pretty good with the college basketball, so we're going to try to keep at it, keep that money coming in, right? Anyway, thank you, everybody, for coming out, and I will see you guys next week.